So now we are into the basics of interpretation. So one of the first thing that we understand before we get into interpretations is how the rashis, houses, and planet interact. So this topic is about house lordships. So the lord of the sign also becomes the lord of the house which it is in. What does this mean? For example, this is the sign, zodiac sign of Cancer, 4 number. The Lord of Cancer is Moon. So, the Lord of this house where Cancer is there, the Lord of first house becomes Moon. The Lord of second house is Sun because this sign is Leo. The Lord of third house is Mercury because this is Virgo ruled by Mercury, and so on. Once the ascendant sign is fixed, rest of the signs are allocated sequentially in a counterclockwise direction. So once in the ascendant you know that there is Cancer, then rest of the signs are sequentially numbered and it's automatically fixed. So as we had studied earlier also, ascendant is fixing the lagna is like fixing which is the rising zodiac. So once we fix this, we write 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in a sequential order, and the whole map is created. Temporary malefics and benefics, so we touched upon that earlier also. In general, the lord of 3, 6, 8, and 12 houses are temporary malefics. Lord of 3, 6, 8, and 12 are temporary malefics. The Lord of 1, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10. 1, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10 are temporary benefics. The Lord of 2nd and 11 are neutral. There are 12 types of lagnas. So here it is Cancer. It can be a Leo lagna. This 5 could be here, or 6 could be here, 7 could be here. So all these 12 signs could be at the lagna. So there are 12 types of lagnas, and each lagna has its set of temporary benefics and malefics. Note, in some cases, some planets own both malefic and benefic houses. In such cases, additional factors are considered like natural qualities, relationship with Lagna Lord, etc. So here we can see Saturn is the Lord of seventh house, which is a temporary benefic, and eighth house, which is a temporary malefics. So in such cases, there are many ways. One way is that we consider the Mool Trikon sign, and where does the Mool Trikon sign lies? So the Mool Trikon sign of Saturn is Aquarius, and it is malefic. So we can say Saturn is malefic for Cancer Lagna or Cancer ascendant. Another way to say is that Saturn is an enemy of Moon because the ascendant lord and Saturn and Moon are enemies. So Saturn will not be working as a benefic planet; it will be malefic. So you have to look at other qualities. Saturn, being a malefic planet itself, will also have a malefic effect. So these are the factors that can be used to decide whether this planet will be a temporary benefic or temporary malefic. This is a very important concept: blending, confluence, and cumulative effect. So, what are these? A graha will blend its meaning blend the meanings of its natural indications with the meanings of the house, the Rashi, and the Graha with which it combines by occupation, association, or aspect. So, a Graha, when it is in some house, Saturn in first house, Sun in third house. So, the traits of the house that we have studied earlier and the meaning of the Graha will blend. That will also blend with the Rashi, the sign of the Graha. For example, Sun is in Aries sign in third house. So the Aries, Sun, and third house characteristics will blend together. Also, if it is with Mercury, then the Mercury characteristics will also blend. So the meaning will come through blending of the three or four features that are coming in. Second trait is the confluence of a confluence. So confluence, what is confluence? Confluence of a predominantly good or bad indication gives the Jyotishi an idea of what to predict. If equal testimonies, so basically, what is confluence? If all things are indicating towards one direction. If you look at the chart from different ways, and it says it shows negative traits. For example, if Mars is the Karaka of brothers, and third house is the Karaka of brothers, and the Lord of third house. Now, if all these three are in bad condition, then you can say that the person might have problems with brothers. So you look at the different uh, interpretations that you can make out, and for one feature or one question that is coming. If there are if all the features are together pointing towards one direction, then you know that this is a thing that can be predicted with good confidence. However, if equal testimonies of good and bad indication exist, Jyotishis pray for guidance. So this is where the intuition and the experience has to come into picture. So they pray for guidance before using the experience and intuition to render a judicious judgment. So Jyotish is a spiritual activity, and then you have to go inside, and with the true heart you have to pray that you are able to catch the essence, because it can become very difficult to really understand if good and bad things both are happening and which is right or which is wrong. And then you go with experience. So experience is important, intuition is important, but it's always beneficial to offer prayers, ask your Ishtadevta or whoever you believe in to guide, to properly guide in making the right interpretation. Good and bad indications in a horoscope. Now, this is a third aspect. Good and bad indications in a horoscope usually do not cancel each other out. So, this is cumulative effect. If a aspect is there and a bad aspect is there, then they don't cancel out. It's not plus one minus one is zero. If a house shows very good results, the lord of the house shows very bad results, and the significator shows neutral results, then both good and bad results will happen. So in Jyotish, the good and bad don't cancel out. They all these things happen because a life is not black and white. We have days, we go through a bad phase, and in those bad phase we have good moments where we are happy. So it's a complex thing, and that has to be acknowledged, that the good and bad can simultaneously exist. Simplex versus complex. So what's simplex versus complex? Now let's say this interpretation. If Saturn is in Aries at birth, the person will be a fool, always on his legs, deceitful, and without friends. If Saturn is in Libra, the person will be famous. So in Aries, it's debilitated. In Libra, it is exalted. If Saturn is in Libra, the person will be famous, will be the head of his clan, a leader of a town, commander of a force, or the headman of a village, and will be wealthy. Now, this is a verse from Brihad Jataka, which is written by a great Rishi Varahamihira. Now, this is one trait, uh, Saturn being in Aries and Saturn being in Libra. Saturn stays in Aries for 2.5 years. Saturn stays in Libra for 2.5 years. So, do all Saturn in Aries people will have this trait, or do all Saturn in Libra will have this trait? So, this is, one simple feature you're catching from the horoscope, and you're reading a scripture and you're making a judgment. So these judgments, this is what a simplex, where you're using a simple yoga, a simple combination to make a judgment. This may not be accurate, but this is not wrong, but this is not where it ends. This is just, one layer of the judgment. What is complex? If at birth the lord of the fourth house as well as the moon occupy the sixth, the eighth, or the 12th house, and be without the association or aspect of a benefic planet or benefic planets, and be also conjoined with or aspected by malefic planets, and or have malefic planets flanking it, the result would be the death of the mother. So this is chapter 16 of Deepika. Now this is an extremely complex combination, which may take, few minutes to even understand what other yugas in there, how, what are the combinations, and it becomes more difficult to, find that in a horoscope. But it's saying that, it's not saying that this is wrong, but it's saying that to get to this level, there are so many sutras, and it's almost impossible to remember them. So probably this thing is happening once in thousand charts, and it may be true. I mean, there's no evidence that it is incorrect or correct, but it might just be true. But it's humanly impossible to remember such kind of complex sutras. These are easy to remember, but these are so common that, the interpretation can be, uh, too superficial, and it won't be accurate also. Now, the real interpretation lies between, somewhere in between these two things. So it's good to remember. Try to If you try to remember these things, it's a good habit, and over a period of time, certain mastery is definitely developed over such kind of combinations, and your accuracy improves. But you need to try to be not, stopping here. Try to move here, but somewhere in between, you need to use some kind of a judgment, your own experiences, your own interpretation, and validate it in real life, and, fine tune your skills. So that is where the art of interpretation comes into picture. The art and science. The art and science. So basically, we develop Jyotish is basically uh, uh, mathematically, there is a science part of it, where there's a lot of calculation, there is a structure, there is a logical, framework, and then there is an art. So it is one thing to say to a person whose horoscope you are interpreting that there will be both happiness and unhappiness pertaining to children. And it's quite another thing to say, one of your children may cause you great concern on account of a marked tendency to ill health, but your other two kids will most likely be healthy, highly educated, and respected in their professions. To move from this level to this level, a lot of experience is needed and a lot of sadhana is required to practice this. But if you're true to true to the honest to your practice, then there's no way one can stop you. Eventually, you move from this kind of a reading to making, which is a thing of art. This kind of a reading.